One of the favorite Bible verses used by Christians to dismiss atheists is Psalm 14:1, which of course states, "The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God." Well, in fact, I must say that I agree with this biblical assessment. For one, a fool indeed does make decisions with their heart. I mean, obviously, it is impossible to use cardiac muscle to perform any cognitive function, but aside from that, I do agree that basing any opinion off of your emotions is generally a bad idea. Emotions tend to cloud your judgment and impair your rationality. So anyone using their emotions to conclude anything about the existence of gods is not relying upon sound reasoning. I also agree that it is foolish to positively assert that there is no God or gods which exist, because this implies that one has knowledge about the subject. I find Gnosticism on either side to be disingenuous and foolish, as claiming to know something with 100% certainty without actually having knowledge renders the word knowledge completely devoid of any real meaning. While I certainly do claim that the God of the Bible doesn't exist, along with many others, and can back up this claim with empirical evidence, contradicting the claims in the Bible and with logical argument, I certainly would never claim that there is no God with respect to the existence of any and all deities. I certainly find the prospect of any gods existing to be infinitesimally small, but have to leave the possibility open if I'm being intellectually honest. I can reject all gods about which claims are made which can be refuted, and reserve judgment on any gods about which no specific claims are made. Of course, when Christians cite this passage, they aren't presenting it in the manner in which I have described. They're presenting it as evidence that those who reject belief in their God are really just foolish and reject the immutable truth of its existence. This is strange, of course, considering that there are other passages in the Bible which claim that God hardens people's hearts so that they can't believe in him even if they wanted to. So it seems to be of a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy in that way. Either atheists are fools because they willingly choose to lie to themselves about the existence of a God they supposedly know exists but reject, or they've had their ability to accept God's existence removed by God himself in some sort of malevolent Schadenfreude experiment. Whatever the case, parenting this phrase is just another way for Christians to marginalize and reject those who don't follow their beliefs and culture. Most Christians already believe that non-believers will go to hell, or at least will not get into heaven, or won't be as rewarded in heaven as believers are. One of the absurd but not immediately apparent aspects of this rhetoric is the fact that it singles out atheists. Perhaps the author of this passage was referring specifically to Yahweh, but the nebulous term God could be applied to anyone who believes in any God. Such an opinion isn't all that uncommon among Christian fundamentalists today, that people who believe in something are better than those who don't believe in things without evidence. This puts atheists at the bottom of the barrel, below even the craziest religious people who worship the most ridiculous gods. Such fundamentalists typically justify this attitude by claiming that the fact that anything exists is evidence of a creator, and that to deny this is unacceptable. And they also try to claim that non-Christian theists know that a creator exists, but that they just have the wrong message about it. This is why there are still, to this day, laws on the books in several U.S. states barring only atheists from holding public office. Granted, they are unconstitutional and unenforceable, but the fact that they haven't been stricken from the books demonstrates that many Christians in the U.S. see them as being symbolic. It also reinforces the point that they'd rather have anyone at all in public office, be they Muslim, Hindu, Mormon, Scientologist, or anyone else, but an atheist, who's someone who simply lacks belief in any of these gods. Hell, even S.E. Cupp claims she wouldn't want an atheist president because he or she wouldn't be consulting with an imaginary friend when making decisions. The irrational bias is just indefensible. Webster's dictionary defines fool as one who lacks judgment or who has been victimized to be made to look foolish. I think Christians would do well to remember that people like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Bill Nye, Stephen Hawking, and Neil deGrasse Tyson are atheists, just to name a few. And, of course, frequently Christians will attempt to claim Albert Einstein as a believer in God, but they either present completely fabricated information or take his position out of context. Einstein was a pantheist. He essentially believed that the universe itself was divine. He considered existence itself to be God, although I personally do not agree with such nebulous definitions of such terms. Another major figure which Christians attempt to appeal to in arguing against atheism is Carl Sagan, who rejected the term atheist because, in his mind, this implied Gnosticism. Basically, he considered it arrogant to claim that no gods exist, and I, of course, agree. We must forgive his interpretation of what the word atheist means, and also put it in the context of the time in which he lived, which was really before atheists were at all outspoken about their religion. Lastly, I just want to reiterate that atheists shouldn't consider theists to be fools simply because they believe in a god. Yeah, most of them have been deceived and have not arrived at their position due to their own unbiased efforts to educate themselves. Simply believing what you were taught at a young age is not foolish. It is only foolish if a person chooses to remain willfully ignorant by rejecting or ignoring contradicting evidence in order to maintain their preferred beliefs. And even if people choose to remain willfully ignorant, atheists still do not assert that anything bad is going to happen to a person after death by virtue of not being an atheist, unlike those who believe that non-believers will suffer for eternity after they perish on earth for simply having a difference of opinion. Well, I am Prototype Atheist, and again, I thank you for taking the time to view this video, and I invite you to subscribe to my channel if you'd like regular content similar to this. Likes and shares are also appreciated as well. Be sure to check out the Godless Engineers channel on YouTube. He's another very active atheist content creator who I enjoy and who I do recommend, so be sure to subscribe over there and give him your support. And of course, when debating with theists, remember to keep calm. It seems legit.